A photograph of a church destroyed in the 2010 earthquake in Haiti was displayed at a church service in May in the Little Haiti neighborhood of Miami. After the earthquake, Haitians were granted temporary status to stay in the United States without fear of deportation. Joe read Getty Images, Washington. Thousands of immigrants from Nicaragua, who came to the United States illegally, many of them decades ago, will lose special permission allowing them to stay in the country, the Trump administration said on Monday. However, officials from the Department of Homeland Security said the effective date of termination would be delayed 1 year, until January 5, 2019, to give about 2,500 individuals time to leave the country or adjust their immigration status. The program allowing them to stay, temporary protected status, was enacted by Congress in 1990 to protect foreigners, particularly Central Americans, fleeing war, natural disasters or catastrophes, and was extended to Haitians after the 2010 earthquake. Officials said that Elaine Duke, the acting Secretary of Homeland Security, had not made a decision on hundreds of thousands of immigrants from Haiti, El Salvador and Honduras who are also covered under the program. The department had until Monday to extend or terminate the program for Nicaragua and Honduras. Ms. Duke, saying she did not have enough information, did not make a decision on Honduras, so immigrants covered under the temporary protective status from that country will be extended 6 months, through July 5. The Trump administration said that in some cases, the protection for foreigners has stretched into decades, and the Departments of State and Homeland Security decided that the living conditions in their home countries had improved enough for them to return. The administration and some allied lawmakers, including Senator Charles E. Grassley, Republican of Iowa, said the immigrants received public benefits and took jobs that might otherwise be filled by unemployed American citizens. Many of the more than 300,000 people shielded from deportation under the program have lived in the United States for years and bought homes, embarked on careers and given birth to children who are American citizens. Now they face an uncertain future. People protected under the program will be given 6 months to leave after their current permissions expire. The temporary status for the 86,000 Hondurans and 5,000 Nicaraguans in the program expires in early January, and Monday was to be the deadline for the Department of Homeland Security to decide whether to renew that status. It has until Thanksgiving to decide whether to extend the protection for thousands of Haitians. The program covers 10 countries: El Salvador, Haiti, Honduras, Nepal, Nicaragua, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, Syria and Yemen. The Trump administration's decisions to rescind the temporary protection status for Nicaraguans is part of its effort to reduce both legal and illegal immigration to the United States. The administration has moved aggressively to enforce the nation's immigration laws, arresting and deporting those in the country illegally, regardless of whether they have committed serious crimes, and reducing the number of refugees. Democratic members of Congress and immigration advocates called the move inhumane. Senator Benjamin L. Cardin, Democrat of Maryland, said that sending tens of thousands of people back to Central American nations still recovering from natural disasters or internal strife could destabilize those countries. In a statement, Mr. Cardin said the effort was part of the White House's radical anti-immigration agenda, which ignored an honest assessment of conditions in each of the countries. A coalition of immigration groups also criticized the Trump administration for ending the protection. The Trump administration's recommendation to terminate temporary protected status for hundreds of thousands of people from all over the globe living in the United States is cruel and shameful, Stephen Choi, the executive director for the New York Immigration Coalition, said at a news conference on Monday in New York. America will not be greater or safer by sending back people who've made their lives here. Belinda Osorio, 48, who arrived in 1991 in the United States from Honduras seeking work, said she was relieved the news had not been as bad as she had feared. She had read and heard that her temporary protected status would be cut off immediately. Still, it was only a postponement of the panic that was to come. I don't think 6 months is going to fix anything, because what are we going to do after 6 months, said Ms. Osorio, a housekeeper at one of the Disney World Resort hotels in Orlando, Florida. We're not going to leave. I'm not going to leave my country. I'm not going to take my kids to a dangerous country. She said that she was afraid that if they were forced to return to Honduras, her 14-year-old son would be forced to join a violent gang. Her 72-year-old mother has been threatened by gang members who have demanded money from her, and Ms. Osorio said she feared she and her children, as returnees from the United States, would have it even worse. Like many other recipients of temporary protected status, Ms. Osorio built a life here expecting that she would not be forced to return anytime soon. She had married an American citizen, another hotel employee, with whom she had 2 children. It was through her job that her family had medical insurance. For years, she said, she had been trying to apply for a green card based on her marriage, and she hoped she would succeed before the temporary program expired. At least I have hope with my husband, but there's a lot of people, they don't have nothing. Their only hope is TPS, she said. It's not fair after so many years working so hard in this country, and they just want to get rid of us just like that. John F. Kelly, the former Secretary of Homeland Security and now the White House Chief of Staff, had extended temporary protected status for Haitians in May, giving them an additional 6 months to stay in the country. Salvadorans, who make up about 60% of those in the temporary protected status program, were first granted protection in March 2001 after a series of earthquakes in the country. Their protective status will expire next year. On March 9, the status is renewed periodically, and recipients have to keep their permits updated to avoid deportation, paying $495 each time. The Obama administration typically granted 18-month waivers. Last week, a bipartisan group of lawmakers led by Representatives Carlos Curbelo and Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, Republicans of Florida, and Representatives Frederica S. Wilson and Alciel Hastings, Democrats of Florida, introduced a bill that would try to provide permanent legal status for some Haitians, Nicaraguans, Salvadorans and Hondurans.